Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you may be. Welcome to my show called The Elite Life. My name is Rashida Sokolov once again, and today we'll be talking about the topics of the afterlife and beyond. So, the first topic will be the process of death. An individual who has sustained either irreversible cessation of respiratory and circulatory functions, or two, irreversible cessation of all functions of the entire brain, including the brainstem, is dead. A determination of death must be made in accordance with accepted medical standards. The next topic will be about the near-death experiences. So these are several stories about people who experience this phenomena, and I was going to tell you about it because they're very interesting. Okay, so there's a guy number one. He moved from Michigan and he stopped through Illinois. He got very nauseous and fainted and sweated profusely. His wife asked him if he needed to go to the hospital. He got to the hospital and he got diagnosed with anemia with a tear in his GI tract. He was kept for a little for blood transfusion and sent home. During this time, he died and was sent to heaven. He was taught there that there was no religion in church. This is a man-made thing. So, the next one would be about a woman who died and was led to a room with a man teaching and another girl there. As the man was teaching, the lady who died asked the man what was the true religion. She said she could feel and think everything he was thinking. She said that the question that was asked was compared to if the moon was made out of cheese. The other girl sitting in the room told her when she meets her and her mom, tell her this and tell her that. Then a life review came where she was sent to another room to watch her life story and was told what she could improve on. She could also feel what those other people felt in their interactions. So, after the life review, she was told that she could not stay there by the guide after the whole experience was met with an overwhelming peace and love. She left and returned to her body. Later on, after being discharged from the hospital, she soon discovered her illness had an overwhelming her illness had an overwhelming push to go to church. So she tried to ask the inner voice, what's the purpose? And as she was going, she saw a lady crying in the church. The inner voice said, that's the reason. She then had flashbacks about the girl in the room saying that, tell her this and tell her that. And that was her motivation to go and tell the messages that were sent to her through her NDE. As she approaches the crying lady, she asked her why she is crying. And the lady told her that she just had a daughter that recently died in Los Angeles. She said she was estranged from her, which even hurt her worse. She verified the daughter's looks to the crying lady first. It was a match. She then asked if she could meet her later on, believing that she had a message for her. The crying lady agreed to meet her at the house. So the two met up, they sat down and started talking. The message was that she was okay and there was nothing to worry about. She is safe, and tell her that she loves her. So the next topic is about a man who found his dentures. There was a man who died in a hospital and left his body. He reported that he was at the top of the ceiling watching them work on his body. He watched as they scrambled around his body. When he went back into his body and recovered, the people were looking for his dentures. He pointed to the drawer where they were at, and they were there. Astonished, people asked how he knew that, and he reported that he was on the ceiling looking at them work on his body. There was another story, and this one is somewhat famous, and it's about a kid that went to heaven. So there was a child, his name was Todd Burbo, and he reported going to heaven during surgery for a busted appendix. As recovering at home, he was able to recall events like his mother having a miscarriage. He said to his mom, "I met the baby that was in your tummy. She looks like my sister here on earth." Todd also reported things that his grandfather used to say to his father when he was little. This was made into a book and a movie called Heaven is for Real. I, myself, have had supernatural experiences that are similar to this. Although I've never died before, I can recall some supernatural experiences that I had. My brother's father died in 2010. I started having dreams about him. I could recall that I had one when we were in the tunnel, and I greeted him being happy that I haven't seen him in years. I asked, "Can I go with him?" He said, "No, you have more work to do on the earth." I then woke up. I had an aunt that died of cancer in 2002. When entering the room, I could feel the energy of chaos. I felt an overwhelming feeling to pray for her. As I proceeded to, her body got very warm. A peaceful, loving presence entered the room as the chaos left. I asked her, "Does she feel that?" And she said yes. The number 3 popped into my head as I prayed for her. 3 days later, she died. As I was sleeping, she came into my dream and said, "Thank you for your prayers," and then walked away. I believe this stuff is real, especially after my own experiences. These things are far-fetched. You could take them as you want to or whatever. So the description of the supernatural processes, as far-fetched as it may sound, there is a medium that reported having a gift of seeing both sides, and other NDE people says that you could pick the life that you want before you get to Earth. There are groups of people who want to go with you, so you meet these people along the way on Earth. Everyone and everything serves a purpose on Earth. It is a pre-written contract written between you and God to ensure everything's in place. There are guides that follow you. Some people have reported angels following you throughout your life just to protect you. If you are going to school, for example, to be a lawyer, this guide has experience in law, etc. You could also have, you could pursue whatever thing that you want to. There's always somebody by your side. You don't have to see them, but they help you out. Your parents to your children, to your spouse, to your extended family, to your friends, and all other people are incorporated into this contract. There is a time during the death transition that is interesting. Just like I mentioned before, there is a tunnel that you have to travel through that acts like a portal between the earth and heaven. People have reported of seeing past loved ones greet them when they enter. Prayers are tangible items to form the way your life is going to be made. They are real. Jesus and other biblical characters are reported to be there. As some reported, God is a collection of source of love, peace, and energy. We come from them. Everything is alive in heaven, including the grass, the flowers, the water. There are people who commit suicide, and this is what happens to them. Suicide and other information. You're here to evolve. People who kill themselves cut that experience short, not fulfilling the contract, and are sent back to do it again in some other form. There is a such thing as reincarnation. You could learn and do almost everything that you could do here on earth in heaven. Like learn, teach new skills to yourself, involve yourself with other family members or friends. There's also houses that are prepared for you to live in. Anything that you desire is there. But as reported, paradise gets boring, which makes you want to fulfill another contract on earth. There is no time there, no sense of time. It's eternal there. In order to learn more about these subjects, there actually was a study that proved that once you set up something and let go of it, it manifests on its own. Search the internet about near-death experiences and other phenomena, including metaphysics and other supernatural topics. There was another story that I wanted to report to you guys. I have a neighbor, and this neighbor he was in a fire, and he died of smoke inhalation. He was getting his kids out of the house, hurrying up. Unfortunately, he died. So he actually told me, because we were talking about this subject on my porch, that he was actually out of his body, looking in the ceiling, looking at the top of the ceiling, looking down on his body getting worked on. He actually heard a voice, and it was the voice of what he believed was his grandfather. His grandfather told him it wasn't his time, and it's time to get back in his body. He went back into his body, and he had something like that. That's what he mentioned. And he's living and breathing just like that. People are fearful sometimes to actually tell stories like this because, there's so much stigma out there about being crazy or, psychotic or something like that. Or even some people say that there's no such thing, that they're still hallucinating or something like that. I believe personally that it's true. I've experienced certain things like this, and this world is way too advanced in order to think about it with your own brain. So that concludes my show called The Elite Life, and you guys have a good day. Bye.